sports fans, and welcome to the Winter State Tournament edition of the Maui News Sports Report. I'm Rob Colias, joined once again by Jordan Helly. And Jordan, we have a ton to talk about, so let's get right to it. Once again, we start with the top-ranked, top-seeded Lahaina Luna girls basketball team. They get to the state final with an impressive win over Hilo on Friday night in the semis, but then they run into a buzzsaw against a very big, very tough Punahou team. I looked at the first two box scores and saw the Lunas dominated the boards. They had 102 to 55 rebounding advantage in the first two games combined. That included 46 to 18 on the offensive glass. And the Lunas shot 16 for 38 from three-point range in the first two games at state, and that didn't happen against Punahou.
No, it was a different story. Punahou is really one of the maybe two or three teams around the state that can throw the kind of size that they have at Lahaina Luna. And Lahaina Luna usually enjoys at least an even to an outsized advantage over most of their opponents. We saw it against Marino. We saw it against Hilo. They were able to dominate on the glass, dominate with their athleticism and their size to get those advantages inside. Different story against Punahou. 42 to 26, the Buff and Blue out-rebounded the Lady Lunas. And you mentioned the three-point shot. That's usually their great equalizer that allows them to play so fast, the style that they love. But they went just 4 of 20 from three-point range, never really got going. Aloha Salem hit a couple of those kind of big in their comeback to cut it to 5 in the third quarter, but that was as close as Lahaina Luna would get in the second half. That 22-point second-half deficit, just too much to climb out of. Kilea Kaloi led the way for Lahaina Luna, 11 points, 8 rebounds, but nobody really over 8 other than that. And Tyra Moy for Punahou was just absolutely terrific down in the post, just a sophomore, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks on 9 of 10 shooting. She and the crew inside just absolutely won the interior battle, and that was the difference. Lahaina Luna really played good enough to win, probably, besides that 5 or 6 minute stretch where they dug themselves in that big hole in the second quarter. But what was an absolute season to remember for Lahaina Luna comes up just a bit short. The good news for Lahaina Luna is they look forward. They lose just one senior, so they're in position to maybe even be better next year.
No doubt about it. 29-2 is nothing to be ashamed of, and like you said, make no mistake, this team will be back in a big way next year, no doubt about it. Boys basketball, Baldwin wraps up the MIL title with a win over Lahaina Luna on Friday night. The Bears were 13-1 in the MIL, 20-3 overall. A very good Baldwin team, and they got some great offense on Friday night, but it was really, to me, also a key was their defense. The Lunas scored 4 points in the first 14 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, it was a big-time second-half defensive performance by Baldwin. We're trailing by 2 at halftime and then outscored Lahaina Luna by a bunch in the second half. Philip Thomas, really the spark plug for Baldwin, 22 points, 5 for 5 from three-point land, and some of those three-pointers came a couple steps beyond the arc. It was a very impressive performance by Thomas, and then the defensive team defense of Baldwin, kind of mixing up a man-to-man with that matchup zone that they've been playing for years, really stifled Lahaina Luna, who looked very good in the first half. Looked like they were in position to maybe force a playoff game. Baldwin with a lot of confidence after just the one loss in league play and a very good showing in the non-league tournaments in the preseason part of their action. Got the number 3 seed after clinching the MIL title. They'll play the winner of ILH runner-up Marino, who they succumbed to in the quarterfinals last year when the Marino won the ILH, and Moana Lua, who was the 4th place team out of the OIA. Lahaina Luna will open up with Kalaheo, the 3rd place team out of the OIA, and the winner of that gets number 1 seed Iolani out of the ILH. That's the Division 1 side of things. In Division 2, Seabury completed an unbeaten run in Division 2.
And, you know, they never made it look easy, but the Spartans will find out today who they're playing in the Division 2 state tournament. 8 teams there, so they will start in the quarterfinals. You know, they were really tested in MIL play, including Friday night against a gritty Lanai team.
Yeah, that Lanai team gave up a lot of size advantage, but the scrappy perimeter play by the Pinelands actually led Seabury in the second half, but just kind of let it get away from them. Some clutch performances down the stretch. Cameron King, Jackson Stinger, as they have all season long, leading the Spartans to the finish line. 14-0 in MIL play. We'll see. They'll be one of probably the 4 seeded teams. It really doesn't matter in Division II as every team starts in the quarterfinals because it's an 8-team event. As you said, the brackets will come out sometime today, and they'll figure out what their path will be as they try to move forward into the Division II state tournament.
And Baldwin, just going back to them real quick, once again, the MIL champion looking at the ILH runner-up keeps on happening. Not sure how that happens, but soccer, an amazing run for Baldwin and Kamehameha. Both make the state Final Four. Both teams tied each other in MIL play. The only difference, Baldwin wins the title on the strength of Kamehameha having another tie in there. Warriors turned the table a little bit in that third-place match, but really an unbelievable season for the top 2 teams in MIL boys soccer.
Yeah, and all season long, they've really probably been amongst the top 5 or 6 teams in the state, proving that in the state tournament. It was an absolute great week for the MIL at boys states, both of them, though, succumbing to the 2 ILH representatives in the semifinals, but 3rd and 4th place, an absolutely great showing.
And moving on to state swimming, Baldwin's Jonah Hugh wins a pair of state titles. The 200 individual medley comes back later and sets a state record in the 100 breaststroke. He's a very bright, very articulate young man headed to either USC or Stanford, where he will see buddy and former foe Rennie Richmond, who's at Arizona. Pac-12 swimming is the best in the nation, and this young man is going to represent. He dedicated his entire season and capped it off with that state record, dedicated it to the late, great Spencer Shiraishi, his former coach for the Maui Swim Club, and some other history in the pool.
Yeah, Sky Hirsch, first ever boys state champion from Maui Prep Academy. That young school on the west side getting their first ever state champ on the boys' side, took the 50 freestyle, so a big moment for that school's athletic program.
And also the first young man to win an MIL individual title for Maui Prep, and did the same thing for Kihei Charter. Kid is going to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, and with history on his side for sure. The all-time, moving on, the all-time winningest state champion in MIL history, Dakota Grossman, 8 state gold medals around her neck, will take her running career to the University of Utah. She announced that on Friday, signed her letter of intent on Saturday, her 18th birthday. Full ride, that is rare in women's track and field, and good for Dakota. Looking forward to the state track meet where Seabury will be state title contenders for the team title. And lastly but not least, Maui High grad Mark Karaviotis makes his college starting debut for number 6 Oregon Sunday night against UH. And, oh, by the way, he stole home for the Ducks' first run, and good for Mark. I think he's going to have a great career ahead of him. Well, Jordan, that's all we got this week. We'll see you next week, and send us your bobbleheads.